The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And a good Monday morning to you, one and all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live this morning here from the Bunkerized studio. Yes, it is Monday, November number 20 in the year of our Lord 2017. Glad that you are here. It is Thanksgiving holiday week 2017. Yes, if you can believe that, this week is Thanksgiving. Unbelievable. Well, it's here, folks. We've got the holiday week right up on us. We got the holidays up on us. So you got Thanksgiving on Thursday, Black Friday on Friday of this week, and what is known as the biggest shopping day and biggest shopping weekend of the year is coming up. Now, I always avoid shopping centers, plazas, stores, and the like, and what have you on such a day, on Black Friday. My mom, my sister, they like to go out. They travel too for that, because they live in Syracuse, and I think they go to like Rochester or New York, which is about an hour away. They're at Outlet Mall or something around that area, I think. I avoid malls and shopping plazas on that weekend. I don't go near them. I don't even like to really go to I don't like going to the malls anyway. But I definitely avoid malls during the holiday season, holiday shopping season, because people are crazy. They're nuts. When it comes to shopping for Christmas, I mean, I'm starting to really like the online stuff. By the way, speaking of online, Walmart is upping its game. It is targeting Amazon. Walmart is sort of putting Target aside. Now, I got to tell you, Target is making a very bad decision by not focusing on the online segment. Walmart was behind the eight ball on this one too. While Amazon grew and grew and grew, Walmart, the world's biggest, not online or physical retailer, stumbled a few times with their online presence, and they really ignored it for a long time. And now they're playing catch up, and they're targeting Amazon. Well, I'm telling you, Target had better get on board. They're not doing the same thing. They're ignoring the growing online market as Amazon swallows stuff up. It swallows the online market. Now you got certain countries out there that are talking about, is Amazon too big? Every time you turn around, you got Bezos is now the wealthiest person on the planet. Well, him and Bill Gates seem to swap off that title depending on who you're talking to or what month it is or what magazine is doing the survey. Even Fortune magazine and Forbes magazine have a tough time trying to tell you who's number one, number two all the time consistently. But to go from basically nowhere in less than in about a half of a lifetime, not even half a lifetime to go. Well, is it? It's about 30 years, I guess, for Amazon. He started in '94. So it's been a little over. So I guess about half a lifetime, pretty much. This guy is now, I don't know, what's he, depending on who you're talking to, he's worth 60, 70, 80 billion dollars. This is ridiculous. He's got enormous clout and power. All because he built a better mousetrap. He decided to have stuff, and he built a way for people that wanted to give him their money. I can't fault him for that. Nobody. I mean, I know you got some people that try to, that say he's evil, and I'm saying no. He just offered a product and service that people were willing to pay for. Brilliant. He's not the only one, though. Others could have done the same thing if they chose to do so. I know some tried and they failed, but others could have tried to do what Bezos did, and they thought, well, it's not going to work for him. And as he kept winning at this particular game, all those around him kept ignoring him, including Walmart. And now everybody's trying to play catch up. And I'm thinking, well, it's too late for some, I guess. Now, 2018, there's also the notion that we may see the end of some venerable names in the business world, especially in the retail market. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but Sears is on that list again. Now, Sears has been on the demise list for the past 5 years at least. I think every year over the past 5 years I've seen companies that we don't expect to last the year. And Kmart Sears has always been on that list. But this year, coming in 2018, it may be a little bit more accurate. Well, because Sears, again, they blew their online presence at first. And now they've sold off some of their venerable and profitable nameplates. I do believe they sold off Kenmore earlier this year. They sold off Craftsman to Black & Decker, of all people, of all companies. I would have been okay if they would have sold it to Husky Tools, the makers of Husky Tools. I would have been okay with that. Or even Mac Tools. But Black & Decker? Might as well have sold it to Stanley. It is what it is, I guess. But they're done. I don't see how Sears can get. I mean, they don't have what made Sears Sears. They don't have anymore. They don't own it. I mean, it's good to see that even if Sears were to go under, names like Kenmore and Craftsman will obviously live on. But I just don't. I don't understand why they would get rid of some of their more profitable stuff. I know that Sears needs cash, but that's probably not the best idea. And there are other companies, I'm sure, that there'll be a list that'll come out in December. Companies that we think will, fold in 2018. Hard to believe 2018 is about 6 weeks away. Well, there's somebody that won't be coming down for breakfast in 2018. As a matter of fact, he won't be coming down for breakfast today. There are a lot of people celebrating the demise of Charles Manson. The 83-year-old succumbed yesterday and is now, according to many, burning in hell. There are some saying, well, he's giving the devil a run for his money down there in hell. And I'm thinking, well, no, Manson's just a human being. He was an evil human being. But there are people that I say that have looked at Manson and just said, well, he was possessed. Although I got to tell you, look, I believe in evil. I also believe in possession, but not in the way that, not in like the movie or TV series, The Exorcist type of thing. I don't think that sort of stuff happens. You can't twist a human neck all the way around like an owl. However, can demons possess somebody's mind and influence them? Yes. Yes. The Bible is very clear that that's possible, in that it happens. And whenever, just looking, there are certain people, not many, but there are certain people who, when I look into their eyes, it makes my blood run cold, gives me a little bit of a shiver. Manson was just a pure evil man. There was no love or soul. Well, he obviously had a soul, but there was no love for soul in that man's eyes. It was just, eyes are the windows of the soul. And I often am pretty accurate about a person when I first meet them by looking directly into their eyes. Eye-to-eye contact. There are some people that I just like, oh, I would not trust this person at all. And usually I've been proven right. And I figured this out way back in high school. There was a new student that all the girls seemed to like. I guess he was a good-looking kid, same class. His name was John something. And I remember saying, there's something about him. He's not going to be a well-liked person after a while, once people get to know him. And sure enough, he turned out to be a total and complete asshole. Yeah, I said asshole on the air. Turned out to be a total and complete jerk. And very few people, nobody liked the kid, after a while. But everybody's like, well, no, he's cool and he's cute. And I'm like, yeah, I don't, it's not going to go that way. I don't trust him. And if high school was hell for him, it was hell because of his own making. He was just a total jerk. But that's just the way some people are. But you can figure it out sometimes. I think we all have gifts given by God. And I think one of my gifts is just being able to read people by looking them in the eyes. Now, is it accurate? Yes, it's uncannily. It's very accurate, actually. Am I 100% right? No. But enough, greater than 90%, which is pretty damn good. And that's just from first impressions and first meetings. And lately I've been able to do it by just looking at people, I don't even have to see them in person. Just looking in those eyes, and it just tells you, it's like there's something missing. But hey, a lot of people don't believe that, but that's too bad. And I've always had that same feeling, although a lot of people have had that same feeling with Charles Manson. Well, that was just an obvious one. And I think just about everybody looked in Manson's eyes and said that that man was just evil. I wouldn't be surprised if was it Carpenter, if he came back and said that Michael Myers was his model. James Manson was the model for Michael Myers. I wouldn't doubt it. If he ever admitted it, I don't know if he'd ever admit it, but I wouldn't doubt if that were the case. But Manson has passed on at the age of. I thought the guy was never going to die. I mean, every time I turn around, he was. Why would anybody keep interviewing this guy anyway? I mean, he did so many interviews over his lifetime. He was serving, I think, the 7 consecutive life sentences. He was never getting out. Thank God. There were even times when he even said, "Well, they better never let me out." Now, would anybody argue the fact that this is probably a man who probably deserves the death penalty? He hung on. Now he's 83 years old. For decades. For decades, we took care of and housed and fed this guy. Just not a person that you want to have around all the time. Can you picture? Manson had a beard, I guess, but can you picture him sitting around the fire telling ghost stories? Or better yet, can you picture Manson playing Santa Claus and people having their children sit on his lap? Now, personally, I don't think Manson would harm children. Not in a physical manner. But I think he'd really scare the you-know-what out of them. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
There was, of course, the Manson family, and many of them are still alive, and many of them are no longer in jail, I guess. But I don't. Well, he was the ringleader, and so that he's the reason why they all went after, or I guess he got the biggest jail sentence. But it's amazing how somebody like that can actually get people to do his bidding. But yeah, so there you go. Notorious killer, serial killer Charles Manson is now dead at the age of 83, and hopefully he is not resting in peace. Speaking of dying, did you know this? Did you hear this? Georgia Dome. The Georgia Dome was destroyed. Yes, the Georgia Dome, once home of the Atlanta Falcons, has been dismantled, destroyed at the age of 25. I mean, I didn't realize Georgia. Well, yeah, it's been around. It's only 25 years old, though. Can you believe they tore down? Now, I remember going. I've been to the Georgia Dome. It was big. I have been to the Georgia. It was a nice stadium back in the day. But now they have decided to tear it down. This was opened in '92, so it's not an old building. But it was used to host 2 Super Bowls. It was for football. It was used in the in Olympics, and back in '96. It's been used in the Final Four. It's a well-storied, well-known building. I mean, even high schoolers have gotten to play in the Georgia Dome. But it has been replaced by a brand new stadium called the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Well, I got to tell you, I'm tired of these things. These new stadiums, I'm tired of them. Not that they're being built. I'm just tired of them being named for how they're being named. Everything is named after a company now because a company is buying these so-called naming rights. It should be the Georgia Dome. It's not Gillette Stadium. It should be Foxborough Stadium, for the New England Patriots. You're at a Gillette Stadium. Give me a break. And I realize that some of these corporations, well, a lot of them, they're paying an awful lot of money to be able to name, because it's supposedly. Does anybody buy razors because the football stadium is named Gillette Stadium? And I can't tell you how many stadiums, big and small, across the country are named Verizon or Xfinity. I'm tired of that stuff. I don't like it. And they're often replacing venerable and storied stadiums and buildings. It's really taking apart our history is what it is. We're selling it out, literally. Now, I'm not saying that the name Georgia Dome was something historical, but to replace the Georgia Dome with something called the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, really? Here in New Hampshire, we have our biggest gathering spot is in Manchester. And it used to be called the Verizon Center. But a local college or university, I guess, outbid Verizon. Verizon's naming contract was over, so now it's not called the Verizon Center. Everybody knows it as the Verizon Center. When it was built as the Verizon Center. But now it has been changed as the SNHU, Southern New Hampshire University Center. Now, who's going to bother with that? I still call it the Verizon Center. Well, I know that Rod, people should be able to name anything that they want. I understand that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but really, are we gonna just name everything after, because somebody comes up with the highest bid? Hey, I'll give you $200 million. Allow me to name it after me. Would somebody allow me, if I were wealthy enough, to call something the Rod Eccles Center? Oh, it's got a nice ring to it.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program. a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Well, over the weekend, we got a surprise visit, I should say. Not the kind of visit that you think, but or surprise reappearance, I guess, from Kathy Griffin. Did any? Now, I haven't viewed the video, but there have been lots of people weighing in on this video. Kathy Griffin is basically, her career is dead. She's complaining, I don't have any gigs at all coming up. I guess nobody's hiring. Well, she really, I have always said I have a soft spot in my heart for redheads. I think redheaded women can be absolutely beautiful. She gives redheads a bad name. She does. I'm sorry, but she does. Yeah, is she British as well? British descent? Irish, Scottish, somewhere around there? Isn't Griffin Scottish? Well, I think so. So she's giving, because that's where most of the world's redheads come from. It comes from, surprisingly enough, it either, if you're not a part of the British Isles, which also includes Ireland, the land of Ire, but there's also quite a few Italians, redheaded Italian. Now, I don't know why the redhead gene is so prevalent. Well, we know why it's prevalent in the British Isles, because they're islands, and they've been pretty isolated over humankind's history. And once the gene is it just gets passed over and over and over again to the same, pretty much the same clan. And I know that we had the Vikings, Eric the Red, who supposedly had bright red hair. I guess we don't have any photographs of Eric the Red, obviously. But it is said that he had bright red hair and he came from the Nordic region. But there aren't a lot of redheads in the Nordic region. It seems like they Nordic countries like, Sweden and Denmark and Norway and Finland and such, which is why he was such an oddity, I guess. But these redheads today, now, funny enough, redheads do appear in places that people do not really generally expect. Now, how the redhead gene or red-haired gene got introduced to some cultures is beyond me. I don't know. But there are black people, black Africans, rare, that have red hair. Believe it or not, there's a red-haired gene in my family. I have cousins out of Detroit. One of them, she has freckles and red hair. My mother, which is passed on to me, has red-haired highlights in her hair. You can see it in the sun. She doesn't color. Well, before she started coloring her hair, you could see it in the sun. You could see it, mine too. You can see it sometimes in the summer. If it bleaches out, it turns red. If I don't wear hats in the summer, or I'm out in the sun too much, my hair actually, you start to see this dark red appear. That's how it bleaches out, I guess. I don't know. But I have seen Asians, as in Chinese, redheads. I don't know where I don't understand how the gene works or where it comes from, but I do know that the bulk of the world's redheads outside of the United States, the bulk of the world's redheads have Scottish or Irish or Italian heritage in their lineage. But I don't know why I got onto that, because I like redheads. And she's a poor excuse of a redhead. Kathy Griffin. And she is out there talking, just trying to dump on Trump again. But the hate that comes out of these liberal leftist lunatics is amazing. It's beyond the pale, beyond compare. So she had her pop-off Saturday, I guess. Now again, I didn't see it. Now she's only got, for being a, I guess, famous comedian. She's got more followers than I do on YouTube, and I don't claim to have a whole hell of a lot of followers anywhere. But I am not a big, huge celebrity like Kathy Griffin. She's only got 24,000 followers or subscribers. Now, for a big-time celebrity like her, now I know she's not a big-time celebrity. Yeah, she is. Everybody knows who she is. She's a big-time celebrity. She's at one point in her career, she was able to fill theaters, sell out theaters. Now, I've never been to any of her shows. I don't know how funny. I never really thought that she was all that funny, but hey, you just got to like her humor, I guess. But nobody's supporting her right now. I mean, that's pretty sad. And she went out, she did that fake crying about Trump. Yeah, Trump, he hurt my feelings. You Donald, he was just terrible. How mean he was. Really? Yeah, nobody believes her. But anyway, so Kathy Griffin did something over the weekend. And evidently she didn't get what she was expecting. I mean, I think by the time everything was said and done, I don't know if she's taken down she hasn't taken down the video because I have it right here, but I haven't seen it. It was a 5-minute video of her, spewing hate and ill logic. She's up to 9,000 dislikes with 1,000 likes. So again, she's not getting it. These people refuse to get it. These kind of people, they just refuse to get it. So I don't know. Well, there are over 300,000 views of this video, but 9,000 dislikes, thumbs down, over on YouTube. Now I don't know if that's a record or not, but hey, it is what it is for her. Trump rips into somebody or something, not Kathy Griffin this time. I mean, let's face it. I think Kathy Griffin is down and out, and you got to be nice. You don't try to hit people when they're that down. I'm just saying you don't. But President Trump did hit back against the NFL again on Monday. Earlier this morning, I guess he slammed the Oakland Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch. The NFL should suspend him next time he does not stand for the national anthem. Now, Marshawn Lynch of the NFL's Oakland Raiders stands for the Mexican anthem and sits down to booze for our national anthem. Wait, why were they playing the Mexican national anthem at an American NFL football game? I don't know because I have not been watching the NFL. Were they playing in Mexico? I have not watched a single game of the NFL this year. Not a single game. Now, I caught a few minutes during a few plays during the preseason, but I never really watched the preseason. But when the NFL started and all these players were starting to take a knee, I said, "Oh, the hell with that! I'm not supporting these overpaid, babied, rich, pompous pretenders. I'm not going to support them until this crap stops." So I have not seen a single NFL game this year. In fact, I've hardly even seen any highlights. You know, I usually like to watch some of the highlights or some of the spectacular plays. I haven't even watched the highlights. I have been NFL. You know, they have these ads running around talking about the free life, meaning tobacco free, and they're targeting young people. Not targeting young people not to drink, just targeting young people not to smoke tobacco or use tobacco. It's called the free life. This free life. I mean, they're on my Instagram feed constantly. I can't get away from it. I don't know why. I would be targeted to have, something that's targeting 16 to 25-year-olds, but glad to know somebody thinks I'm young. But hey, so I think I have done the NFL free life this year. So I don't. That's the other thing I'm getting. Why the hell is the NFL running around the world with pro football games? So I guess they were playing in Mexico for some reason. I don't. Okay, so that explains why they were playing the Mexican national anthem. But why would you go to a foreign country and do what Marshawn Lynch did? I mean, look, you may have problems with your own country. Okay, I get it. But that's your family, so you keep it within the family. You don't go talking and spewing against your family outside of the family. I mean, that's just uncouth. I don't know. I get it. I get it. They're trying, just kind of like baseball. Baseball has expanded. I know there's a growing American-style football presence in Europe, just like basketball did and baseball. But the NFL doesn't need to be traveling around the world. Not in my opinion, they don't. They don't need to be. We didn't really have a whole hell of a lot of NBA games played overseas, did we? We didn't have a whole hell of a lot of National Baseball League games played overseas. No. I mean, there weren't a preseason stuff. I mean, there were some scrimmages, but American-style football is just not something I don't think that the world is going to, believe it or not, I just don't think the world is going to embrace. I mean, if that were the case, then I think Australian rules football would be a lot bigger than it is. Otherwise known as rugby. Because in England it's known as rugby, in Australia it's known as Australian rules football. And yet, look, they play the sport without pads, and all the players kind of look like hockey players. They've missing teeth and everything. But those guys, they take a pounding. I don't see them or hear them complaining as much as NFL players complain. And they don't have all these safety rules. Maybe this whole thing is with the NFL. Maybe this is what we need to do. We need to go back to having so-called safety equipment, pads, of the 30s and 40s. Yeah, maybe that's what we need to. We need to go back to that. Maybe then you wouldn't have players that get so huge. And maybe then you wouldn't have players that want to, spear other players away. Go back to leather helmets. These plastic helmets and plastic shoulder pads, they are the reason why there are so many injuries in the NFL. Now, I know some people are thinking, well, that's funny, right? No, I'm not joking. Look, I've played the game. I've played in high school. And we are trained to use that plastic. Those shoulder pads and those helmets, we were trained to use them. Why? Because they were hard and they were plastic and you weren't going to get hurt if you hit right. Well, I mean, the other player could get hurt if you hit them right. Now, I don't think people are going to do it if everything's made of leather. We go back to leather helmets and leather shoulder pads. You won't get to see these horrific hits that they show in highlight reels sometimes. A couple of weeks ago, somebody suggested I watch a video of knockout highlight reels. I mean, hits that were so vicious, players, either one or more players were left unconscious on the field. And I'm watching some of those, over the years. I'm watching, it was the top 10 vicious hits over the years in the NFL. And I got to tell you, it's just amazing that people actually get up from that stuff. And why they would even want to do that. Why would somebody want to hit somebody that hard? It's just unbelievable to hear it. To hear the plastic hit the plastic is just absolutely horrendous. So maybe if we go back to that kind of stuff, the game will actually be safer. That's in my opinion. But other than that, other than watching that highlight reel, which did not encompass this year, it encompasses multiple years, the top 10 knockout hits in the NFL, encompassed many years. So, but other than that, I haven't watched any NFL this year. Just not interested in watching a bunch of pampered, overplayed babies who have so many rules to protect them. And even the rules that they're supposed to follow aren't even enforced. I mean, they're spoiled brats making millions of dollars. And they want to protest the United States as being an unjust. I think the USA is unjust. We're unjust that we have to pay $40, $50, $60, $70 a ticket so they can make $10 million a year for catching a football.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Have you ever watched an Australian rules football game? Yeah, back in the day when ESPN used to be, all about sports and not about politics. And there still are more than one ESPN channel, but I think there was, back when I watched it, there was only two ESPN channels. There's ESPN and ESPN2. And that's also when you could get ESPN and ESPN2, and you didn't have to pay like a bazillion dollars a month for a cable subscription. So I was able to watch a few Australian rules football games, and those are brutal games. But those guys are the team. Well, I'm sure that they have their rivalries, just like any other sports teams. But these guys would beat the crap out of each other on the field, and afterwards, they're hugging and doing the manly hug type of thing and embracing, and they probably all go out and have beers later together. In order to dull the pain from the game. But it reminded me of one thing. It reminded me of when I was a kid, sandlot football. I mean, this is what we did. We played tackle. You're not supposed to play tackle football without pads on. Anybody, any boy ever told that? Yeah, well, we didn't follow that rule. We didn't play two-hand touch football. We didn't play in the street. We had fields. And we played in the field. Even as I got older and into my 20s, we had the good old annual, what we call Turkey Bowl. It was tackle. Yeah, and it was rare, but on occasion, somebody would get injured. One year, one of the long venerable players by the name of Jim Herman had one of his collarbones broken. That was just one year. And another year, somebody did get their arm broken. But those are about out of, I don't know how many years that the game was played over. It was over 20 years. Out of 20 years of playing, I think we were 8th grade, freshmen in high school when we started playing. Out of all those years, I think we've only had, 2 broken bones like that. And we weren't wearing pads. Can you say the same thing? I think there are more, injuries when people are wearing those stupid pads than when they're not. We played in the snow. We played on Thanksgiving Day when it was fairly warm. We played when it's Thanksgiving Day when it was literally snowing like it was a blizzard. We had those games. I miss those days. I do. I miss them. They were fun. You look back and think, how crazy were we? But maybe that's what the NFL should be like. Now the NFL is played on these artificial surfaces and these artificial environments, and these guys are just so pampered. Maybe we need to go back to outdoor stadiums. We need to go back to less padding. We need to go back to people who actually play the game because they love playing the game. Now, you don't go out there to the Turkey Bowl or any other time when you're in a sandlot because, you're trying to make money. You're out there playing the game because you love the sport. And you're out there to have a good time and have some fun. And yeah, every once in a while we get people that come and watch. During high school, you get some of the girls, the guys, their girlfriends would show up, and later on some of their wives and even their kids. But they, and of course you see the wives, putting the hands over their eyes whenever their husband got hit or something. But they were there because of the love of the game. And none of us would ever think about kneeling or sitting down during a national anthem. Especially if we were in a foreign country. Well, I'm a military brat. There's no way in hell anybody would ever get away with not supporting and honoring the national anthem and our flag overseas. That's just... I'm sorry. But so I still won't watch the NFL. Not until they correct these jackasses.
Call Rod now. 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small. You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 gets going here on the Rod Eccles Show. Welcome back, Liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe, and any of you Kathy Griffin lovers, glad that you are here. You need someplace to go, don't you? Yes, here it is, Monday, November number 20 in the year of our Lord 2017, as we get started with the holiday season. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit anxious. Well, not anxious. I'm looking forward a little bit to the holiday season this year. I don't know why. I'm already in the holiday mood, in the Christmas mood. Well, probably because I got a story here in the paper. I'm not even going to really go through it too much. Evidently, there are some pastors in the Christian, so-called Christian faith that are saying that Christians need to stop saying Christmas. You know, every time somebody says, you shouldn't say Christmas, makes me want to say it all that much more. It's not holidays. It's Christmas. And it's Hanukkah. I know what they've been trying to do. They keep tossing in these other meaningless, stupid, made-up holidays in around the same time as Christmas and Hanukkah, and just so they can water them both down. Because they want to look. Kwanzaa doesn't have God in it. It doesn't. But what's the one? I think it's from King of Queens, right? Or is it from Seinfeld? Festivus? Yeah, that doesn't have God in it. I know it's a well. Some people say, well, Rod, that's just Festivus is just a made up funny holiday. Well, so is Kwanzaa. There's no reasoning behind Kwanzaa. Now, I know there are probably some black people that are listening that are going, oh, you're a traitor to your race. No, I'm not. Yeah, that's another thing that bothers me. You know, I'm getting hit on. Well, I don't mind being hit on Twitter. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just pointing it out. Getting hit on Twitter for being supposedly a what do they call it? Self-hating, race traitor. Like I don't ever remember me ever betraying the human race. Well, I did, and yeah, I know I identify partly as being black because that's what everybody else has to do that kind of thing. Their ethnic background. It's kind of difficult to. Yeah, I don't know why Americans still do it actually, because there aren't many of us that are purebred. No, I'm serious. I hate to use that term, but there aren't many of us that are still purebred. I mean, America is a great melting pot. I mean, and each one of us can look at it. Look at this 23andMe and Ancestry.com. They're doing those DNA testing things. I mean, the people that the reason why that those two and other companies like them are doing such bang up business is because Americans do not know who they are. We don't know where we come from. And these people get these DNA tests and they find out that they're from all over the world. People that have least expected it. Or, like in one of the commercials, a guy thought he was German and he wasn't German at all. He was Scottish. But you get people that come from, these people, Americans, they find out that their ancestry, their recent ancestry and heritage. I'm not talking about going back 200 years either. But, a few generations back to maybe their grandparents or great-grandparents. And they're finding out that they're from all over the place. Because I think Americans have lost touch with who we really are. But the point is that who we really are is we're all human beings. So if we're all human beings, there is no possible way for me to be a race traitor. I mean, I have never done the 23andMe or any Ancestry.com or any of the DNA because I'm a little squeamish about that because I don't know what they're doing with that DNA after they figure out where I'm from. I'm not being paranoid. I'm just being logical. What the hell are they doing with the DNA? But in any case, I haven't done any of that DNA testing. But from what I've been able to find out, my family is a Heinz 57. So I don't know, if somebody looks at me and says, well, you're being a race traitor, really, which particular race are you referring to? Are you referring to the Northern African part? Are you referring to the Cherokee Native American part? Are you referring to the Osage Native American part? Are you referring to the French part? By the way, where I get my last name. Not a slave name, not a given name. Surprised to find that one out. Are you referring to the Irish? Yeah, evidently there's Irish in my family. Well, that would explain some of the redheads in Detroit. Now, I can't confirm it yet, but there also might be some Spaniard in my family. Which might make sense why I like Antonio Banderas so much. So which race am I being a traitor of? And if somebody says, just looks at me and says, you're being a traitor to the black race. Really? How do you know I'm black? There are a lot of people that think I'm Dominican. Hell, there are Puerto Ricans and Dominicans that think I'm Dominican. So, what race am I? What race am I being a traitor of? So I'm just this whole notion that this is something that the left continually does. They keep trying to separate us into these smaller and smaller groups. So the problem is, and I think the left is digging their own grave in part because of these DNA companies now. How many white people are going to be upset? I wonder how many KKK members or racist, super racist people actually get their DNA tested. Because I'm sure they're afraid to find out that they're part Jewish. So it just and it's hard to tell sometimes just by looking at somebody what their ethnic makeup might be. And I can't, look, I have often said, I love the Asian culture. I have a slight Asian fetish, if you will. But I have often misread somebody as being Asian like Chinese or Korean And come to find out, they're born and bred in places like Guatemala or Nicaragua. A lot of Central America did. Well, you look at them sometimes, you wonder, well, what are they? Are they Asian? There's similarities there. A lot of similarities. But yeah, it just. So yeah, I don't know what this whole race traitor thing is. I'm trying to figure. I scratch my head and trying to figure out, well, which race am I betraying here by establishing that I'm a conservative? I know what they mean, because they think automatically that I'm just mostly black, when that's not the case at all. And they don't realize it. I get it, because they only care about what's on the surface, what they can see. And frankly, what you can see is oftentimes not right. Like I said, I've gotten people that think I'm Dominican. It's been so bad that when I was a salesman on the road for a company, and I used to have to travel. My territory was basically northern Massachusetts. There are a couple. I've mentioned this many times before. There are a couple of cities in Massachusetts, like specifically Lowell, Mass, and Lawrence, Mass, heavily populated by Latinos, and a lot of them don't speak English very well, so they're not coming from Puerto Rico. And Lowell has a very large Dominican population. Now, when I was in Lowell, I used to get people that would get mad at me because they were speaking Spanish, and I never learned to speak Spanish. Instead, when I was in high school, in college, I took French. I have no idea why. I took French. So I speak very little Spanish. So I'm going into these towns, and these people are starting to talk to me in Spanish. And I've even had a couple of, what, you don't know your own tongue, man? No, I don't speak Spanish. You don't speak. How can a Dominican not speak Spanish? I'm not Dominican. I'm telling you, I've had, going to Lawrence and Lowell, I have more people think that I am Dominican. So I don't know how somebody on Twitter can examine me and say, well, you're all black, Rod. Okay. I give you that. Fine. So if speaking the truth and being logical is being a traitor, then I guess I'll just have to continue being that kind of a traitor then. It's just stupid. Stupid stuff. I don't even know why I got off on that tangent, but this is what's happening out there, and this is what's happening on Twitter. If you do not act the way somebody thinks you look in that expected manner, then the new tool is the new argument is they're just going to call you a race traitor. So I mean, I don't know. I guess blacks are supposed to be in some fashion. They're supposed to be loving the Democrats and be liberal, and if you're not, that's a traitor. What are the other nationality stereotypes? I guess if you don't live up to those nationality stereotypes, you're also going to be called a traitor to your own race, whatever race that might be. I mean, I don't know how some people are going to do it. I mean, what if you're Irish and Italian? Now, of course, the Irish and Italian in this country have had a long feud. So which side are you going to be a race traitor of? The Italians or the Irish? I don't know. In any case, there are now more and more people are starting to talk about maybe these preppers have something in common. But there's more and more talk about. I got it this morning. Even some more information about the super volcano in Yellowstone and the potential for it erupting. And it could erupt much sooner than originally expected. Now, much sooner meaning now there are some people that are predicting that it could erupt this century. In such a case, if it were to be a full eruption, it could plunge half of the world into a volcanic ice age, thus squashing all the global warming stuff I'm just saying, folks. But it would blanket 90% of the United States, the mainland United States, and Canada. Now, I don't know why they're not including Mexico in this, but 90% of Canada and the mainland United States would be covered in soot and ash from a full-blown eruption of the supervolcano in Yellowstone National Park. If this thing is as big as they say it is, I don't see how it would just be 90% of the North American continent. I don't see how it would only be limited to just the northern hemisphere going into an ice age. This thing's exploding. It would change the very face and fabric of the landscape of North America. I'm talking, it would rip the continent in half. There would be earthquakes felt around the globe if this thing were to go off. So I don't know what preppers are going to do if it goes off. There wouldn't be much left anywhere. And there's no way to prevent it. But they are saying that, I'm not trying to scare people, but they're saying that they have now developed tactics and techniques where they could detect a potential major eruption a full decade before it happens. Now, there's a lot of activity in the Yellowstone supervolcano region right now, a lot of scientific activity. Now, I don't know if that means that they do expect this thing to go off anytime soon, or if they're just honing in on their volcanic and earthquake science, which very well could be what they're doing. Not trying to predict well, you know what? If the damn thing goes off, the damn thing's going to go off. There's nothing we can do about it. The Earth is the Earth. Mother Earth is going to do whatever Mother Earth is going to do. By the way, just to get a little bit of a biblical reference to this, God did say that he was never going to destroy man or the earth by water again. And the book of Revelation describes fire raining down from the heavens, which could mean a meteor, a large meteor, which could mean a gigantic volcanic eruption raining, stone and ash and lava down. Either one of those two scenarios is highly plausible. And basically, if they say that this supervolcano that is sleeping under Yellowstone is as big and as powerful as they claim, then there's nothing humanity can do except get off the damn planet while it's erupting. And I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement,
But now, there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
There are some listeners that are probably wondering, why the hell am I bringing up the super volcano? Well, folks, you got to understand something. This is a program that is not just about politics. First of all, it is about politics, current events, pop culture, science, and this is all about, and actually, a lot of things, even when we're talking about pop culture, current events, science, is all intertwined with politics. Now, you have to understand that these people that are doing all these tests and developing all this stuff in order to detect a supervolcano eruption, this stuff is not just to try to predict the supervolcano eruption, but other volcanic eruptions, which could in the near future, save lives. And I'm not. I might be making light of the fact of the supervolcano eruption, but let's face it, folks. If this thing is as powerful and as large as they say it is, humanity as a whole on this planet is in big trouble. It's not just humans; it's every animal on the planet too. There won't be much left after it's all said and done. Now, I know, everybody talks about giant earthquakes in California falling off, but if that thing were to blow up and erupt, you would have to worry about California falling off, because it would be incinerated or buried under 1,000 feet of ash and lava. It's not going to matter. It will change the face, the planetary, landscape, if you will. But we have to understand something. We don't know a whole hell of a lot about our planet. We like to think that we do, but we don't. That is why there is so much money being funded into trying to find, by governments, including our own, trying to find out more about the planet. Because we don't know a whole hell of a lot. And we've got a lot to lose. This is not like it's the year, this is 2017 AD. This is not 2017 BC. There's a lot to lose. And if we could actually predict and prevent or save people from a natural calamity, then I think governments around the globe have a duty to their citizenry to try to come up with those answers. Plain and simple. This is why we talk about this kind of stuff. Not to mention because I'm also fascinated by science. I really am. It's just a fascinating field. Speaking of, anybody watching the Oak Island, Treasure of Oak Island stuff up in Canada, up in Nova Scotia? Getting kind of interesting, but I got a theory about that, and I won't share it right now. We'll get into that later in the season. But it also has to do with science. Lots to do with science and government, by the way.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will you listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united, Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Now, according to this story that I have here in my currently cigar nicotine stained thing, you know, speaking of Christmas coming up, not holiday, but Christmas. If anybody wants to get me anything that is truly cigar related, I won't refuse that kind of a gift. Just saying. I mean, I'm not difficult to buy for. Well, yes, I am. Because I'm one of those people that if generally speaking, if I want something and it's affordable in my affordable range, then I'll get it for myself. I do that. I actually probably tick some people off because I do. Well, I'm at the stage of my life now. If I can afford it and I want it, I'm going to get it. And my taste have. Well, they've kind of increased. I mean, some of the toys that I'm able to afford. Well, because as you get older, later, that's the way it's supposed to work, right? You're supposed to be able to afford more and more expensive toys the older you get. So I like doing that, but there's not a whole hell of a lot that I want anyway. If you were to visit my home, you'd find that it is a rather what I would call a modified minimalist. I don't have a lot of stuff because I don't like having a lot of stuff. I think it clutters the place up. Not to mention, then you have to clean it and take care of it and store it and all that kind of stuff. I just don't have a lot of stuff. But the stuff I do have, much of it is of top-notch quality, is the best I could possibly afford. Yes, I'm not bragging about it. I don't have, an end table that costs $12,000. I know some people do. I don't do that. But I just don't have. Well, I do have some IKEA stuff. Well, I kind of like IKEA. It's okay for what it is. But then I have some pieces that are, they would definitely put IKEA to shame. And some stuff that I've made that'll be around for, I think they'll be heirlooms. Whether or not somebody actually likes them or not is, I guess not up to me. But I just like to spend it on stuff that I like. And I happen to like cigars. So just saying. There you go. It's just cigar relate makes it easier for people. But anyway, in my currently cigar nicotine stained fingers here, you know what I would love to do? I would love to go on I don't even know if they have them. Well, they have cruises for just about everything else. They have singles cruises and they have gay cruises. They have grandma cruises. Yeah, there was a grandma cruise or grandparent cruise or something like that not too long ago. I think Carnival had it. Do they have a cigar and scotch cruise? Where you get, well, you don't have to go to Cuba, but you can get original, real, authentic Cuban cigars in the Caribbean, other Caribbean places. So, I'd love to be able to do that. And you can bring some real Cuban cigar. I can't remember how many you're allowed, but you can actually bring some. I didn't know you could until I got back from that cruise with my mother about a year or so ago. Single gay grandma cruise. That's in the chat room, folks. I did not come up with that. Somebody in the chat room. I'm not going to mention who it is, but there's something wrong with that person right now to think of going on a single gay grandma cruise. This is not Friday. Save that for Friday. Speaking of Friday, obviously this Thursday and Friday will not be a live program. There'll be best of programs because it's a holiday. I'm going to be eating turkey with my family. In any case, so in my currently cigar nicotine stained fingers is this whole program about scientists. So far, they've done a massive amount of tracking over the past 10 years for tracking the ground deformation at Yellowstone using what they call semi-permanent GPS stations. Now, evidently, they have to remove these things, before the heavy snow and ice comes for the winter. But otherwise, they're using the same spots locations over and over again. And these are measuring the magmatic and hydrothermal activity in Yellowstone. In other words, the crust actually moves and changes, and they have been trying to measure this using GPS over the past decade. And so far, the information that they've gotten has had some scientists that study this stuff very excited, and it has evidently scared some others. I guess there's been a lot of, in certain places, there have been elevations that have, in other words, the ground has grown or moved upward a significant amount, which means that there's pressure underneath that is pushing up. And in other places, it hasn't changed. And in other places, it has sunken. So, I mean, I'm not a scientist. You can put all this stuff together if you're into that kind of geothermic science. But what it seems to be telling some people is that they're starting to understand how all this stuff works. And there's a lot of government money going into this thing. And it's not HAARP. I know people talk about HAARP, which was up in Alaska and things like that. But this is not HAARP. But this is happening and being all over, Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming and Montana. And they're starting to learn how, because we don't know exactly. We like to think that we know, but we don't know exactly how all the Earth's veins work. Let's put it that way. If water is the lifeblood, well, I guess they say water is the lifeblood of the planet, but that's for life. It's not the lifeblood of the planet. The lifeblood of the planet is the magma, is all the stuff that's underneath the surface. So we don't understand how the veins of this planet work. So they're starting, by doing this type of tracking, they're starting to understand it, and they're starting to find out some commonality of what is happening around the world when it comes to volcanic activity. So we're starting they're starting to gather data and starting to understand, to come up with some real predictors of potential volcanic activity. Look, we can, to some degree, we predict the weather. Obviously not very accurate when you start, extending days and months and years out. But we understand weather enough where we can understand the cycles and predict it within, relatively short period of time. We understand, we're starting to understand earthquakes and what all the predictors are of those. Now, my big predictor is if you're standing out in the middle of the wilderness and birds go quiet and start taking off, and you see animals like deer and rabbit running the hell away from a central location, my guess is that you don't hang around, you follow them. Because something is just about some badass stuff is about to be dropped. Or it's because, sometimes how you can forest fires, it's how some people get trapped by it because they say, well, we didn't see it. We didn't see smoke. We didn't smell it. And we were wondering why the animals were hightailing it out of there. If a bear runs by you and doesn't want to stop to try to eat you, I think you should follow the bear. Just saying. There are certain predictors that we don't need science to tell us about. And this happens with a lot of stuff. We as humans, we've gotten away from our natural connection with the planet and all around us, and we've used all our modern tools, and we've lost a certain connection where we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to natural phenomena, which would allow us to predict certain weather patterns. Everybody's caught off guard when the warning signs are there. I think what's happening is through science is we're starting to relearn the warning signs that we've probably have known for centuries beforehand. Because nowadays, if you think you got a warning sign, well, it's a wives' tale unless there's scientific data to back it up. Science is everything, right? Well, I don't think animals particularly care about our science. They just have an instinctual connection, and they know when the stuff's about to hit the fan. And they hightail it out and try to get as far away from the center of activity as possible. Humans, on the other hand, we're the only idiots that go towards danger instead of away from it. I'm not talking about our first responders who try to actually go and help people who are in trouble. But humans normally, we have far too many people who are willing to go into the area of trouble versus leave it. But then again, if you do try to leave the area of trouble, sometimes you are killed in your migration away from it. And so you're kind of trapped. Well, look at the old Soviet Union, the Iron Curtain. People were shot trying to leave the Soviet Union. Remember that? Remember those days? Millennials don't know about it. They have no clue. Millennials and Generation Z, they know nothing about the Cold War era. And when you try to explain to them, they look at you like you have two heads. What are you talking about? People, when there were two Germanys, and you had that stupid wall that split Berlin, you had East Germans who tried to get into West Germany. They weren't shot by West Germans. They were shot by their own people in East Germany. We have people that try to escape, when before China opened up its seaports. People tried to leave and escape China. What happened to them? Oh, they would be caught and executed. Do we have that still going on today? Yeah, it's called North Korea. We get people who make it out of North Korea talk about how terrible it is and how scary it was to try to leave North Korea because if you were caught, you'd be executed. So we have people that try to leave areas of trouble, but then we have other people who are just evil that keep people hemmed in. So think about all the animals that are trying to escape, I don't know, say a forest fire that's coming, and somebody decides to build a wall and a fence to keep all the animals in, and the animals can't escape. Well, that's what happens with certain countries and certain governments. And you don't need science to tell you about that. But you do need some people who fully understand it. In our various governments across the globe, who aren't going to kowtow, who aren't going to bend down to, and who aren't going to support in any fashion or form these oppressive types of governments. Now, whether you like it or not, leftist or rightist, I don't care. We had an administration that coddled these evil kinds of old-style regimes in North Korea, Iran. That was the Obama administration. And now we have an administration that is saying, oh, hell no. We're not going to kowtow to this. We're not going to support this. We're going to try to open up some holes in those walls and fences to let people escape the upcoming forest fire or volcano eruption in their various countries. We're going to try to dismantle them. Because that's how you win. You have to completely and totally and utterly defeat the enemy. Now, how do you defeat the enemy without shooting bullets? Well, you got to free the people's minds. The reason why they can't let folks leave those countries is because they'll see that the rest of the world is not as the government told them. You know, one of the things that Eastern Europeans always found amazing about Western Europe, in the Western world, was that it was nothing as their government said. They grew up believing that the West was in shambles. You hear them talk about it. The lies that were told within their countries, their oppressive governments about the West, scared people into staying because they thought, well, geez, if we've got it bad, they've got it worse. That's what they were told. And the more people you let escape, the more those people are able to actually tell the truth and send that truth back into their own home country, to their families and friends and neighbors. And it gets to a point, at some point, where the truth can no longer be contained, which is exactly what happened in the old Soviet Union. And which is about to happen in North Korea. They're not going to be able to contain the truth for much longer. There's going to be the equivalent of a volcanic eruption in North Korea at some point. Now, the other thing you have to remember is that when you have people who want to be oppressive leaders or dictators, they don't go quietly into the good night. They lash out. They attack their neighbors. Look, we can see that happening in the Middle East and in African countries. They don't go quietly into the good night. And Kim Jong, what is this? Is this Il or Un? I always forget. He's not going to go quietly into the good night unless somebody takes him out. Frankly, that's the only way he's going to go.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
You know, if you think that all these false flag techniques are only utilized in oppressive regimes like Soviet Union or old Red China or modern North Korea, you're sadly mistaken. We've got this kind of stuff going on in our own government, in our own country, right here. Just take a look at what's happening in Alabama with the Judge Roy Moore thing. I can't tell you how hypocritical all this stuff is with Roy Moore. I mean, we're told that Roy Moore needs to go and hide and live under a rock for the rest of his days on this planet just simply because he was accused by 5 or 6 women of something that he allegedly did 40 years ago. Yet there is not, and people are talking, he should go away. He should never see the light of day again. And if any of this stuff is true, they should throw him in jail like you would not believe so fast. And this is what even some in the GOP are saying. But when it comes to other people, especially Democrats, who are accused of just the same thing or even worse, you don't hear all of these wonderful people talking about, hey, he should resign, he should go live under a rock. Al Franken, anybody? We've got pictures of Al Franken acting like a sexual predator monster. And he even admits, well, I did it because I thought it was funny. So Al Franken actually thinks that groping a sleeping woman would be funny. Funny. But there are no real call. I guess there are a few Democrats that are calling for his resignation, but there's no real calls to force Al Franken to go live under a rock. We now have people apologizing for being an apologist for Bill Clinton 20 years ago. I don't see it, but I still don't see anybody calling for Bill Clinton's head. I'm just this hypocritical notion and what they're doing to Roy Moore. Now, let's just say if some of that stuff that is said about him 40 years ago was true. Oh, okay, what are you going to do about it? Most of that stuff is the statute of limitations is expired. I mean, these women probably can't even sue him for it, but should he resign? Yeah. It should be on his conscience, to admit, I did some things that were probably inappropriate way back when, but you know what? I haven't done anything like that since. But he's saying that none of that stuff is true. He did none of that. But it doesn't matter. I mean, but there's no evidence of it, and even some of the evidence that they do supposedly have has already been proven to be fake, false, or forged. So we got real proof of Al Franken. Go figure.
It was just another quiet Saturday at the Johnson home.
Honey, have you seen the hammer?
It's in the garage.
Oh no, not the garage.
Later that same day...
Dad, I can't find the bicycle pump.
Son, I'm afraid it's in the garage.
The garage?
Then the following Tuesday...
Howard, where's the car?
It's in the garage.
Does your garage look like a giant yard sale without the yard? Do you cringe at the thought of entering your garage? Then you need Crest Garage Cabinets. With one phone call, those wonderful folks at Crest will come out to your home, design the best combination of cabinets for you, and install them quickly and professionally before your very eyes.
It's a miracle.
And unlike other companies who ask for a down payment or money up front, you won't pay a penny until your Crest cabinets are installed to your satisfaction. So call Crest today, toll-free at 1-800-548-2848. That's 1-800-548-2848. And you'll never fear going into your garage again.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare.
I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by.
Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Number 3 here on the fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio is right here. I am your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live once again from the Bunker Rise studio, located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, or as they would say in England, Hampshire. It is Monday, November number 20 in the year of our Lord 2017. It is Thanksgiving week. Do you have all your turkey Thanksgiving fixins? Are you going to traditional bake the bird in the oven for hours upon hours, or are you going to use? I heard pray tell. I heard somebody say that they have an outdoor pizza oven. Which they were going to cook the bird in their pizza oven, outdoor pizza. Well, okay. That's probably more like the traditional method anyway. Something like that, an outdoor oven. So they're going to do that. I guess hopefully it turns out okay. Hope it turns out great. I'm sure it used to, so why wouldn't it? But are you going to use a traditional baking method, such as your oven? Or are you going to use a grill? Or are you going to use a deep fryer? Or some people will talk about smoking the turkey. Now, I've never had a smoked turkey. That's going to take forever to smoke a turkey. They could, I suppose, smoke. I don't know. Good luck to those who are going to do that. Or are you one of those people that just don't think that you should be eating animal flesh? You know, you're a vegetarian or something. Are you going to have a tofu turkey? I'm just asking. What are people going to, or maybe you don't like turkey at all. Not everybody has turkey. The vast majority of us here in the USA eat turkey for Thanksgiving, but some people don't. Some people don't like turkey. And meat eaters, I'm talking, not talking about the strange anti-meat eaters. There are some meat eaters that don't particularly like turkey, which is understandable because I don't particularly like pork. So I understand how meat eaters might not like a particular type of meat. So what are you gonna have in place of a turkey? Gonna have, I don't know, Cornish game hens or something? Are you gonna have another type of poultry? I do that on Christmas. Christmas dinner is usually Cornish hens. They tend to be, well, it depends on the kind that you get. But, obviously they tend to be small. And usually a single person, depending on the size, can usually at least eat half of a Cornish hen all by themselves. Sometimes if they're small enough, and the smaller ones are really very flavorful and juicy. The smaller Cornish hens tend to be one per person. And they're not all that expensive. You can usually, at this time of year, you can usually buy them in pairs in a package of 2 for about $7, $6 or $7 or so. So they're about $3 or $4 a bird, which is not too bad. And now if you have a whole bunch of people over, I mean, you could spend $30 on a bunch of chickens, I suppose, basically what the Cornish hens are. Or you could spend $30 on a turkey. So, anyway, what are some of your favorite additions to the turkey? Now, of course, you got to have good old cranberry sauce. Now, me being in New England now, I've become a full-fledged New Englander. Well, I always have been because I was born here, I suppose. I was born in Massachusetts. I know I'm a masshole by birth, not by choice, by birth. But just outside of Springfield, Mass, is the place of my birth. And I'm sure that if people were to learn about me down there, I would not be that town's favorite son. But in any case, coming back to my roots of birth, so to speak, I have come to very much enjoy good old traditional cranberry sauce. And it's not the stuff that you get in the store out of a soup can. It's not the jellied stuff. I don't even like that anymore. Once you've had the real stuff, it's a bit tart. It still has some sweetness to it, but it's a little bit more tart than the stuff you buy in the store. And it's not jelly. And it's also not the stuff that the non-jellied cranberry sauce that you get in a can. It's still not that either. There is a huge difference from somebody actually making it from real cranberries here. And of course, this is the land of cranberries, here in New England. And to get to the traditional, now, unfortunately, I don't know how to make it yet. I have not learned the recipe, but the traditional New England cranberry sauce, if you will, is absolutely delectable. And it goes perfectly with turkey. It's just amazing how the two go together. Kind of like cheese on a burger, for those who like cheeseburgers. There are certain foods that are meant to be together for some reason. And real New England-style cranberry sauce or chutney with turkey, they were just meant to, just like mint jelly and leg of lamb. Just meant to go together. Orange sauce and duck. Yeah, or goose. Orange sauce and duck or goose together. It just haven't had a good goose in a while. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do this year for Christmas. You ever have something called a turducken? Well, that's where they take a small chicken and they stuff it inside of a duck. And they take that and stuff it inside of a goose, and it's called a turducken. And and the flavors intermingle. There are 3 different, flavored poultry meats, and it just creates this one absolute. I've had it. I've never cooked it, but I have had it. It is a flavor explosion. If you are a meat-loving person, you will love a turducken. Now, obviously, a turducken is not going to be cheap because ducks and goose are not particularly cheap to purchase, especially at this time of year. Just saying. But it is delectable. However, if you were going to have a turducken, it would probably cost you, just for the meat, for the 3 birds alone, it would probably cost you in the neighborhood of $60. Not lying. The goose would be the most expensive part, or probably around $40 or $50, and then the duck would probably cost you another $20. And of course, then you have the chicken, which is the least expensive, costs you under $10 for the chicken. But you got to know how to do it, because you also got to take out some bones in order to be able to shove one inside the other. So you got to know how to prepare it. It's not an easy thing to prepare, but it is so delicious. I will tell you that. So maybe you'll have a turducken before Thanksgiving dinner instead. In any case, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, and I don't have a problem with the way people celebrate Thanksgiving at all. So if you want to, if you want to go out there and have Thanksgiving in Yellowstone with Kathy Griffin on top of the super volcano, you can do that. You can do that if you want. Speaking of Kathy Griffin, there's another person that is having a hard time, but this person is in Europe. And it's actually not just one person. There's a few of them. You know how we keep getting these polls about how Trump is, his approval numbers are so low. Well, not really. Trump's approval numbers are not really all that low, but I can tell you some people's approval numbers who are lower than Trump's, believe it or not, and that would be Merkel, Macron, and May. Yes, Merkel of Germany, Macron of France, and May, Prime Minister May of Great Britain. All have lower approval numbers. They're less popular than Donald J. Trump is in our country. Often, now his approval numbers, Trump's approval numbers, are often mocked by Democrats in the media. However, those numbers top those of Europe's biggest 3 leaders. Yes, Donald Trump is better liked than Germans like Chancellor Angela Merkel. Donald Trump is more liked by Americans than Brits like Theresa May. And Donald Trump is liked by more Americans than the French like French President Emmanuel Macron. A new Zogby analyst survey of people in those countries also find that the disapproval ratings are sky high. Now, if this is true, you got to be asking yourself, how the hell did these people how does Angela Merkel keep getting reelected? She's in her 4th term now, coming up on her 4th term. If nobody likes her, how is she reelected? Of course, you're going to have all the conspiracy theorists out there telling you, it's the Bilderbergs, Rod. It's conspiracy. All these people are the one world government, the NWO, New World Order. They all faked the results because nobody in their right mind would vote for Angela Merkel in Germany. Well, there may be some credence to that if you happen to look at these favorable, unfavorable numbers for each particular person within their own countries. Angela Merkel is far more disliked by Germans than Donald Trump is disliked by Americans. But you don't hear about that here, though. You've got Theresa May, Macron, and Merkel. They're all New World Order. socialist type, big government style types of people within their own countries. And they're not very well liked. Now, you kind of understand how Theresa May can get into office because she's not directly elected by the people. It's a whole parliamentary procedure. It's that goes about and kind of like how the Pope is chosen. Basically, is how the British Prime Minister is chosen. Believe it or not, it's pretty similar. It's not not directly or indirectly by the people. Well, the president is indirectly elected by the people. We have a collegiate type of system, a delegate type of system that actually does the electing, the electors. But the American people decide how many electors should be voting for the president. So we have an indirect way of electing the president. Well, these people in Britain don't even have an indirect way. It's a complete parliamentary system. And it's always going to be an insider. If we had a parliamentary system like Britain does, Donald Trump would never be president. Let me put it to you that way. Never would be president. Britain is always going to have a British insider as their prime minister. You're never going to get an outsider. Never. However, that is not the same that can be said about the French and the Germans, because the Germans do go to the Germans and the French do pretty similar to ours, have a more direct way of electing their leader. Plain and simple. So yeah, an outsider could win those elections, but instead we get these insiders who are the status quo lovers, whom the majority of the people of their respective countries seem to dislike. So you got to wonder, how the hell are they getting elected and reelected if so many people hate them? So does it come up that we do have some voter fraud going on in various countries? Probably. If you're looking at these numbers and you see how unfavorable their numbers are, except for Great Britain, you got to ask yourself, how are these people getting elected? Now, we know how they're getting elected in England because it's a full parliamentary system and it's a good old boys network. It doesn't matter. Outsiders are not going to get raised to the higher echelons of British government. It's just not going to happen. I mean, there would have to be such upheaval and change. You'd have to elect a number of outsiders to Parliament for there to be an outsider elected as Prime Minister or anybody higher up in the British government. That's obviously not going to happen either. So they're not going to get an outsider. They're not going to get a Donald J. Trump. But France and Germany could. But they don't. And you have to look at these unfavorable numbers and ask yourself, why? And can we learn something from these numbers here in America? Yeah, and I'll tell you what they are when we come back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Things that we got to try to do, and this is very difficult, by the way, to do, is you're trying to do, compare apples, oranges to oranges. But in this country, it's very difficult in order to try to get some of the numbers to be more reflective of what they are internationally. But the problem is that it's not easy. Now, this is how can I put it this way? It's hard. Well, let me just say it this way. Here in America, we have a number of different polling companies, and many of them are very similar in thought of highly. Well, they're thought of highly within the polling world. Well, let me give you an example. Now, we're using the Zogby poll here. Zogby did this for Merkel and company. Now, by the same token, if you bring Zogby, doing a Zogby poll here in the United States, now, Zogby says that Bernie Sanders would defeat Trump by 11 points in 2020. Okay, this is Zogby now. Stay with me. At the same time, Zogby also says that they've done a poll that Biden would win in a Trump-Biden matchup in 2020, 50-41. But Zogby also says that Donald Trump's approval rate is slightly above 42%. So when you're trying to match all those numbers together, if you're saying, okay, how well, and the poll numbers, depending on the poll that you have right now this week, over the past week, you've got poll numbers ranging from 34 to 48%. That's a huge swing, folks. I mean, there's a Politico poll out there that says, his approval rate's only 34%. And there are other polls out there that got his approval rate as high as 48%. This is insanity. They can't be... somebody's way off. I mean, how unscientific are these polls now? The polls are saying, well, Trump's only going to get 41% of the vote if the election were held today. But he's got an approval rate as high as 48%. How is that possible? Are you saying then that you approve of the president's job, but you wouldn't vote for him? 7%, 7 points worth would not vote. That doesn't make any sense. That's never happened. Okay, now keep that in mind. You got to keep those numbers in mind as we begin to discuss these other numbers that Zogby has, and you'll see how devastatingly wrong they are about Trump. When we get back.
You might be surprised to learn who has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Nearly 1 in 200 Americans are suffering with a debilitating pain and constant disruption of these inflammatory bowel diseases, or IBD. Chances are you know someone with IBD. For example, your neighbor or coworker. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation was created to help patients cope and to find a cure. People with IBD can't wait. Won't you help someone you know? Visit www.escapethestall.com today.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Amazon's rainforest is being cut down so fast that by 2030, 55% of it could be completely wiped out. The Earth's forests can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease.
That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye? I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
I continue my love-hate relationship with technology. Yeah. It seems yesterday, I was out and about, and I lost my phone somewhere. So I had to, after the show this afternoon, I have to go and get a new phone. I don't know where yesterday I was just out and about everywhere. With a couple of friends, and just the phone is... Bye. Not that it was it was only an LG. See, I don't spend a whole hell of a lot of money on phones, cell phones. I mean, I think it's crazy to do that. But some people like doing it, so if you have the money, fine. Some people think it's crazy to spend money on cigars. I happen to like cigars, so some people happen to like phones. Great. I'm not a huge fan of spending lots and lots of money on, because this is why I don't spend tons of money on sunglasses. You know, I've got a pair of sunglasses that I got for free a few years, probably about 5 years ago now. Went to a bar, and the bar had I think it was who's the Bacardi. Bacardi rum was there. Bacardi was there doing things, and you answered these questions, and you win these little booby prizes. And one of the booby prizes was sunglasses. And the sunglasses, by all accounts, were decent sunglasses, and they didn't have a Bacardi label or insignia on them. And so I got those for free. Now, I still have those sunglasses. Now, I got to tell you, I have purchased sunglasses, and I think the most I've ever spent on a pair of sunglasses is $20. I've either lost or broken every single one of the sunglasses I have purchased within a year. These free sunglasses are the only one that have lasted more than one season. So I don't spend a whole hell of a lot of money. I know people who spend $100 or more on sunglasses. I won't do that. And I know people who spend $400, $500, $600 on a cell phone. I won't do that simply because of what I did yesterday in losing my damn cheap LG cell phone. So I'll go out, this afternoon. I'll go over to the Verizon store, and get a replacement. Same damn thing. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on phones. I'm just, the Samsungs and the new Galaxies and the iPhones. Those are nice phones. But come on, I mean, are you really going to spend $300, $400, $500 for a cell phone, folks? Just so you can. Is it really worth scrolling trolling the web while you're away from your computers, or just to be able to send text. By the way, I don't use Messenger. I don't use Facebook. I don't use any social media on my cell phone, not even Twitter. I took them off. Why? Because they were a pain in the ass. Well, maybe not so much Twitter. But Facebook, I mean, now Facebook wants you to use, 3 different apps? At least on your phone? Just to get the full Facebook experience? And their main app takes up a lot of space. No, they're not going to take control of my phone. So I refuse to put Facebook on my cell phones. I took them off. And if I need to get onto Facebook, then I'll use the browser and log in that way. Same with Twitter, but I'm not using the apps. It's just ridiculous. I know people who are constantly. I don't need to be constantly on Facebook or Twitter or any other social media. I don't need instant access that way. If something important happens, I'll just use the browser. I'll get on via browser that's on the phone. I don't need to load my phone up with applications after application. And besides, I don't even have any games on my phone. I mean, the game apps that I have, they're all on my iPad. I don't have any games, so I don't need a huge phone, expensive phone with huge amounts of memory. If I take pictures or video with my cell phone, I download it onto my computer that night, so I don't need to have a humongous amount of space, memory, on my phone. So I don't need to spend tons and tons of money. So LG worked fine, and I'll probably get another one similar, maybe a more updated version of that. But I'm not spending, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a cell phone. So if you're trying to reach me via cell phone today, you probably might want to wait till evening, or better yet, tomorrow, just to make sure that I get out there and get myself. I'm disconnected today. I know, from the cell phone. I'm gonna go batso. But hey, it'll prove to people that I am not addicted to my cell phone. How many of you out there are addicted to your cell phone? I'm just saying, people will go on trips and they will forget their cell phone at home. They will turn around. If I forget my cell phone at home, I'd look at myself and say, "Oh, I'll just get it when I get home." Because I'm not that attached, which is probably why I lost track of it. I've never done that before, by the way. But this is probably because I'm not addicted to my cell phone. It's probably why I lost track of it, because I don't always reach for it and have it in my hand. And I've been known not to even pick up a cell phone at all for an entire day. Oh my goodness, how is that possible today? So that's I'm gonna have to be more cognizant of that, because I'm not addicted to it, and it's not always in my hand, and I could set it down, and I've done it in my house. I've set my phone down in one part of the house, part of my home, and a few hours later, I'm like, where the hell did I put my phone? And I got to go searching for it. So I'm surprised I haven't lost more while out and about. This is the first time I've actually lost my phone. It's since I started carrying phones, back in 2003 or so. The first time I've actually totally lost a phone. I've dropped phones. I know where they are, just couldn't find them. I dropped the phone in the snow once, an older phone, and I've dropped a phone in water. So this is the first time I've actually lost track and don't remember where I put it. So that's a good track record, I think. Over a decade. I know people who go through phones every year. Some go through them every 6 months. They buy that stupid insurance, and they need it because they always somehow destroy their phone. But I've never had to purchase insurance, and I've been better off for it. I've come out way ahead. So I think I'll keep not buying that phone insurance stuff, Because one, I don't buy really expensive phones, and two, I usually don't do anything to the phone until I decide to go get a new one, or because it's so outdated, I need to go get a new one. Yeah. So I lost my phone. So give me a few hours to correct that and get a new one, folks, before you start. Because if you call me, because I've already contacted Verizon and asked them to put the phone in service on hold so nobody else gets to use it. You can do that via computer, by the way. I know some people were saying, well, how'd you contact Verizon if you don't have a phone, Rod? It's called computer. Verizon.com, that type of thing. It's possible. I know some people are so addicted to their cell phones that they forget that we still have desktops and laptops and tablets out there that can be connected to the internet. So, any case, you should be contacting me anyway via social media or email, unless you're one of my insiders who has my insider knowledge. And well, if you have my cell phone, then you're probably an insider, and you could call me if you need to. But you're not going to reach me before this afternoon anyway, at the earliest. Any case, this whole thing with... by the way, don't forget that if you are a musician or musically inclined in any manner, Christmas music. We're looking for we've gotten some Christmas music in, and I want to thank people who sent it. I want to thank people who sent in their Christmas music so far, but we could use some more. And if your piece of music was rejected, don't take it so personally. Just understand that we do have some quality standards here, and you also must make sure that you are actually, every year we get a couple of people that try to slip in. I don't know, maybe they're trying to get me in trouble. I don't know, they try to slip in stuff that they don't own and they didn't create. But I know music, okay? And I know if you try to find some obscure song that, somebody like Toby Keith did 20 years ago, I'm going to know it's Toby Keith. Sorry. And it doesn't pass the muster, so it won't be played. But original Christmas music that you have created or that you own, and it's original, it could even be a cover, but it's got to be an original cover. Okay? It can't be, something that you just take from somebody else and then just put your voice over their voice. Original cover. And that's what most of these things are. Unless you write a Christmas song yourself, most of the Christmas music is cover of older standards. So send it to the Rod Eccles Show at gmail.com. The Rod Eccles Show at gmail.com. You have until December 1st to get those into me here so we can start playing them. Again, fantastic results the past 2 years with that. People have told me that they've got plenty of new listeners and new fans out of their Christmas music. So if you're a musician, it's a good opportunity. Now, quickly back to these numbers. Here, for instance, this is why some of these issues with these poll numbers exist. Especially this time. This is a totally different type of scenario now. We're not used to this kind of stuff. But Zogby has come out with a poll that nearly 4 out of 10 Trump supporters are actually scared to publicly admit their support. And here's the problem with this. Just to give you an idea of how bad these numbers really are and how inaccurate that they really are, when you compare people who said that they support Antifa to people who support Trump's policies, 58% of Antifa supporters said they also support many of Trump's policies. So what is happening here? People are just jumping on the bandwagon to, one, either just dislike Trump because his name is Trump, or two, they're too scared to say that they actually voted or support him. And therefore, they're hiding what they've actually done. And all these surveys are coming out in these polls, and all this, and they've been doing this almost since Trump got into office. When he was inaugurated. Because the left is still trying to figure out how the hell this guy got elected. And they just, for the life of them, they can't fathom how, if his support numbers, if his approval numbers are supposed to be so low, like in their 30s, how is it that he got elected? And how is it so many people say that they believe that he would be reelected in 2020? Even if he doesn't win, how is it that if only 38 or 34% of, support Trump, how is it that he could get vote numbers of 41, 45, 48%? Doesn't make any sense. Unless you start adding in these numbers where people say that they're too scared to admit that they support Trump or they support a majority of his policies. Now, flip that to the other side when you had of Obama, and you had Obama's high approval numbers, but his individual policies, a lot of people supposedly didn't like the majority of his policies. So how is it that you liked him, didn't like his policies, and elected him? But I guess people don't like Trump's personality, but they like his policies. So that's now going to get him elected. But if you take those numbers and you go back to, say, Merkel. Now, Trump supposedly has, disapproval numbers in the 40s. Well, Merkel only has a 40% approval rate and a 49% disapproval rate. Macron of France has a 28% approval rate and a 52% disapproval rate. Merkel of Great Britain only has an approval rate of 28% and a disapproval rate of 61%. And yet those three leaders of the three largest democracies in Europe keep holding on to their office or get elected for the first time. Their unfavorables are through the roof, far greater than Donald Trump. Their approval ratings are far lower than Trump. Now, especially Macron in May. I mean, the lowest numbers that we've got this week for Trump by Politico are at 34, 35%. But yet we're supposed to believe that Trump is in trouble, politically speaking. The numbers just don't add up, folks. They don't add up.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
some other weird stuff going on out there. Trump has got everybody, up. He's flipped the political world upside down. They just cannot figure out this guy at all. And the LA Times is beside themselves. They have a piece here about Trump. They've asked people about Trump and about the economy. The economy seems to be boosting Trump's numbers, his approval numbers. Even black people. This is from Katrina Harrell, who's a 38-year-old self-employed black businesswoman. I don't know why that really matters, but okay. She says, and she's quoted as saying, Trump wants to bring the economy jobs, infrastructure, and construction. Now, she claims that she's very critical, extremely critical of all the other aspects of his administration, but the economy, Katrina Harrell, the 38-year-old black woman, self-employed businesswoman, gives Trump all the credit. I think those are good moves, she said. I mean, that's what he knows is business. Okay, now here's obviously an LA area black businesswoman who's giving Trump praise for the economy. Another Clinton voter, a 35-year-old white administrator at the University of North Carolina campus in Wilmington, shared a similar view. I think he's just good for the stock market. Now, this is where the liberals do not understand the stock market. A vast majority of people are in the stock market. It's called mutual funds. It's called retirement funds like 401ks. A lot of them are invested heavily in the stock market. So when the stock market goes up, people's retirement funds and savings funds go up as well. But you ask a liberal about this, it's only for the rich. Really? So do you have a 401k at work, or do you have a retirement plan? Well, yeah. Where do you think that money's invested? Well, I don't know. In the stock market, you jackass. The stock market is not just for the rich. As a matter of fact, the stock market is, over the past, since Ronald Reagan's days, has been opened up to the vast majority of Americans like you would not believe. So when the swings happen, they hit Main Street America too. And these people cannot fathom the dichotomy, the relationship between business and politics, and how it affects the regular everyday people like themselves. You get some people that are saying, well, I think there should be taxes on this and taxes on that. Don't realize that they're one of those people that are going to be taxed. And if it's good for the stock market, it's probably good to a vast number of Americans who are in the stock market, even if they don't own stock directly. They own mutual funds, which owns stocks. Now, even supposed a 41-year-old cook who voted for Trump last year now finds him disappointing, praises his economic record. So you have all these people praising Trump for his economic record, but somehow they're not. I'm not getting how all of this stuff works when it comes to these numbers, because the numbers don't work. The numbers don't work. Yeah, well, it is what it is, I suppose, folks. But understand this. You have these wonderful people that are supposed to be these wonderful globalists, like Hillary Clinton is supposed to be. And those people in their various countries do not like them. Their numbers tend to be lower than Trump's. And yet we're supposed to believe by our own skewed numbers here that Trump is in trouble. But everybody loves the economy going up and up and up, and the jobs coming and all that kind of stuff, but nobody wants to give him credit. I guess. In any case, folks, we are out of time for today, but we will be back here tomorrow, so don't miss out for another exciting adventure with moi. And we will continue this in about 21 hours. Have a wonderful Monday afternoon, the start of your week, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out. Now if I can just get my phone back and all my electronics to work. Good God, why do I have to have a love-hate relationship so much with all this stuff? Terrible.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For a Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Oppo file? A Clinton plays a victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.